everybody, and welcome back for, I guess, week 5, last day for North America. So it's all down to the line here. My name is Taka, and I'll be joined on the desk today by Ron Jobert.
In the words of Jeff Hinla, a good headset is insane. So thanks a lot, Sennheiser, for hooking us up.
Yeah, first and foremost, got to give the shout-outs to Sennheiser for making our broadcast possible, as well as providing the audio equipment for LANs. But on top of all of that, that's not the only thing we have going. We actually have a couple of really fun promos for you guys back at home who are tuning in. We have the HRX promo as well for Smite, and that's basically Smite 15. You go online, hi-rezexpo.com, plug in that code that you see at the bottom of your screen, Smite 15, automatically get 15% off.
You were going to go to Worlds anyway, so why not get 50% off? You know, don't lie to us. You were just going to go. You were just going to go to Worlds and have fun. So.
It is a really amazing experience. Yeah. I mean, I know that I've enjoyed every single time that I've gone and plan on making it again one more time, but more importantly, you can also get some experience back at home. Speaking of which, if you party up with your friends, I mean, you get a lot involved. It's not just the XP, you get like 2 times everything.
In this graphic, I'm seeing an Anubis, a Neith, and a Thor, one after another, respectively. So that's 2 times everything for only those 3 characters? No, okay, so it's for everything, not just those 3.
You had to do it to him, didn't you?
You know I had to do it to him.
All jokes aside, though, it has been a really fun and exciting split all around with these teams from not only North America, but also Europe. And more importantly, we're going to go ahead and show you guys the path to HRX that these teams have really been working on the entire time. As you all are already aware, this has been the fall split portion. So pretty much what this is going to funnel into is the top teams from this fall split, basically the top 4 are already qualified to super regionals right now. This is all about seeing how everything is going to shape up for the gauntlet.
And the gauntlet is going to be huge, considering that a lot of the teams, especially in EU, you would expect more than one to have already made it. But having Valence and Energy up at that top, it could be only one of them.
And it's not even, it's the same way for North America as well. There's actually going to be a lot of potential in these teams as well for the gauntlet entering North America right now. But speaking of which, we can take a look at the standings for these North American teams already. And that's why I mentioned that today is one of the more important days, not just because it's the last one, but because this is the make it or break it point for at least a couple of these teams that are looking at relegations right now.
And in EU, Energy was 6th place. They had a lot more points than 7th and 8th Burrito Poppies. But right now, like, the relegations for NA are wide open. We have no idea who's going to be relegated going into the next year.
And that's the insane part about it all, is that today's matchups actually, I mean, a lot of people are keeping in mind the second set of the day, but taking a look at the schedule, there's actually so many different matchups that are going to be very important as to where these teams are going to end up. Or, I mean, we're starting off with ALG versus Noble, and I think that this is a sleeper matchup for the day.
Definitely a sleeper matchup. Both these teams, by being at the bottom, no BM, are very similar in skill. They have a lot of potential to win games, lose games, take games off top teams, lose to bad teams, and it's going to be very close considering these 2 teams' skills.
But that's what makes today so exciting, because shortly after that, I mean, United versus Luminosity, ending the day with Space Station versus Trifecta, and then you've always got to keep in mind Team Cryptic versus Vigilant, and I'd say that the first and third sets, I mean, those ones are really important because of the fact that we don't know who's headed for relegations just yet. There is no guaranteed. Depending on how the 2-0s work out, that could potentially shape up a very different relegation than what we were expecting, or at least a very different gauntlet seeding. But more importantly, I mean, we've just got to start breaking it down. For the second set, like most people are probably paying attention to E United versus Luminosity. I mean, for good reason. E United has been on a tear the entire split, remaining undefeated, but then you've got Luminosity, who actually just suffered one of their first losses.
And these 2 teams play each other a lot. I'm pretty sure that they are scrim partners and only play each other. They've probably only played each other in scrims for the past 2-3 months. And E United and LG are very definitively up at the top. E United probably knows everything about LG's playstyle. Granted, you can watch it. It's like Jeff's going to peel for Barra. Mask and Aquarius are going to dive. And E United, they can always pull out something crazy.
So when you're looking at E United and the fact that they're undefeated, as Luminosity, what do you think would be the stance that you have to take in order to try and topple these guys?
I think Luminosity is best when they play their game. And they have to force other teams to play their game. Whenever they lost to Space Station, their their only literal loss. They were behind. They weren't able to get those invades. Luminosity and E United are both teams that they can invade you over and over, bleed you dry, win one team fight, and just win the game from snowballing.
Yeah, and that's always an important thing to keep in mind as well, is just the fact that there's a lot of experience across both of these teams. I mean, everybody knows how long Jeff and Bear have been around the scene. It's been basically forever that these two have existed, and for good reason. I mean, their names are really hard to forget considering just how much they make happen every time they come to play.
They have such good team fight presence together. You know, Bear, especially even Season 3, Bear and Jeff were just hard carrying that team, and they have a lot better team now than they did in Season 3, and they look even better.
And that's one of the important factors as well to remember, is that they have that whole meshing of Aquarius. It's very clear that he's made a strong enough impact to where it's really helped out their team environment. Mask has seemingly provided one of the better splits that we've seen out of him. I think that before he was kind of struggling from time to time about remaining consistent, but lately he's been looking on point.
Going into the split, you know, with Aquarius as their new solo laner, they can realistically have the left side of the map, or whatever the duo side of the map is. Bear and Jeff say, okay, we got this. You know, Mask, you want to get that comfort, you want to get that comfortability, and you want to, I don't know, like with Aquarius, if you pick a player that's just for Mask, and Mask is able to get those shot calls, Mask is able to play his game, it makes pretty much the entire map wide open.
I think one of the best parts about Aquarius being in that solo lane is that he is somebody who can handle being pressured and aggressed onto consistently. There's been multiple times where we've seen teams really try to focus out that solo lane by just going for the 2v1 strat, just have the jungler hovering around that solo lane side, see how often they can gank him, but he likes to pick those pressure picks. I mean, we've seen him bring it out a few times, the chalk. It's not always considered the ideal solo laner, but if it works, it works, and it seems to be making a difference for Luminosity.
Luminosity and United seem to both be playing the same style of game, which is maybe not everybody's favorite right now, but 2-1-2 seems to be in these teams' favor. 2 in the duo, 1 in the mid, and 2 in the solo and jungle. So having that solo jungle with Mask and Aquarius get that synergy, it pretty much sets the entire map up to win.
And we've talked a lot about Luminosity, but by no means is this going to be an easy challenge for either side. E United, though, have really looked incredibly dominant this entire split, and I think a lot of that has also just started to come because in the past, it's really been Scream who's struggled the most with consistency, I would say, as far as turning up when the team needs him to be there. But this split has been an entirely different story for him.
It seems where Scream goes, the team goes. And granted, that seems a little bit generic. When the jungler does well, your team does well. But having Scream being able to hard carry, especially on these early pressure gods, forcing that in their meta, the Kamazots, the Serqet, winning those fights in 2v2 solo, that seems to kind of set everybody else on the map to win. And having that duo with Panda Cat and Polar Bear Mike, whenever they get to late game, their shot calling is absolutely insane.
But I've got to ask you, Ron, when you break it down between these two teams all day long, who do you think is going to actually walk away with the wins here?
Okay, so I may get a little bit for this, but I'm going to say E United 2-0. I'm going to say E United 2-0s because I think that Luminosity doesn't have the adaptability that E United does. And if E United can get those invades off like they've been able to do literally every game, then I think they should be able to take this.
Well, whether or not United are able to 2-0, that'll be a story for later on today. Before we can even get to that set, we've got to cover the first one, and that's going to be Noble versus Allegiance, which I already mentioned. I feel as though that's a sleeper matchup for the day. A lot of people don't seem to realize just how important this set actually is.
This set is very important, and Noble and ALG have both had games where they've been so close, and you can pretty much taste it and just experience the sadness, especially the players and the fans would have when you're fans of those teams. But Noble, you know, they've had those games, they were up like 10K, 15K, 25 minutes with Fire Giant, every tower down against Trifecta, they lose. Those are very rough games, and they have to put them behind them.
And that's one of the important things, is putting it all behind them so that way they can make sure to focus on their set for today, because if Noble 2-0s, they're guaranteed, I believe, to be at least remaining in that top 6, which is going to put them in better gauntlet seeding. But more importantly, it'll mean that they automatically force ALG into relegations.
Based on their recent performances, I would say that both these teams would seem to have been relegated. I mean, when you have Cryptic, who's coming in and playing so well, Noble and ALG, like, they've looked a lot worse since Cryptic has stepped it up. So having Noble and ALG, especially these matchups, like, these are really good players. Like, we have Metyankey and we have Wowy. Like, these are players that can hard carry, like pretty much against each other, and we're just kind of waiting to see who loses.
I actually really like that you bring up Metyankey and Wowy, because when it comes to these two teams, that's probably one of the more points I would like to focus on. I mean, we all know what Metyankey can bring to the table. He is a mechanically gifted player. He's been around for a while, shifting in all these roles, but it seems as though ADC is really his home.
Metyankey, especially on Soar, definitely had it in him to be one of, if not the best mechanically gifted hunters in North America. And I would say that if he was playing a lot better of a team, fitting in, he'd probably be the best hunter mechanically in North America. And Wowy, on the other end, you know, sometimes he does play a little passive. That's a Barracuda reference, another passive player. But Wowy seems to have this in him where sometimes he can just whip it out and just kind of win the game.
I think Wowy kind of likes to play a little bit more for the mid to late game, because if he buys his time with just farming things out, that seems to be one of his main focal points, is he really enjoys farming, because you can just bring so much to a team fight whenever you have that available. And oh god, we're having some flashbacks right now for Day as he's about to get destroyed.
And he dies to creeps. Oh man, Wowy playing that for sure.
That's the Bluestone proc, I'm pretty sure, that ended up taking him on that one. But either way, I mean, there's a lot of talent between these two teams. I think that both of these teams have come just a little bit short in most of their matches, but whether or not they're going to be able to shape it up for today, like, who would you say is going to be taking this one?
Safe bet, this would probably be a split, but based on how they're performing a little bit better, I think ALG 2-0s this.
You think ALG might 2-0 it? I'm going to actually give it to Noble for the 2-0 here. Either way, we'll be happy to find out thanks to the casters.
Thanks a lot, Taco and Ron. It's Tom and Toli here on the broadcast for you, bringing out what could be a really exciting one. As they were talking about it and breaking it down over there, you heard them mention some of the implications avoiding relegation. That's really important for these two teams. Toli, break down the situation.
Well, Noble's at 3 points, ALG's at 2. If Noble 2-0 here, they'll be at 6, guaranteed outside of relegations, forcing ALG to stay there. All these two teams outside of them also is Vigilant and Cryptic. Those 4 teams specifically are still trying to claw their way out of relegations and climb into a better position for the gauntlet.
That's really what this one is all about. Obviously, these teams have missed up on the top 4 situation, so they really got to figure out how to really avoid the bottom. Relegation is on the horizon, and perhaps most importantly, the gauntlet. So that's what these guys are looking for. Let's get to picks and bans right away. It's Noble versus ALG. Noble on the left side with the first pick and the first ban, and they sort of have the upper hand here. Noble just sort of need to win 1 or 2. ALG have to win hope other people lose. Their destiny is not in their hands.
That's right. If ALG only win 1, they're in a really tricky situation. But if this becomes a split, it could still be Noble and ALG still getting relegated if Cryptic can manage to find that 2-0 against Vigilant, which is going to be an interesting situation to see how the day pans out. I'm not surprised that Hou-Yi is that early ban, considering both of these two hunters between Wowy and Metyankey can play at very high level, and Fafnir gets selected first for Wubbn.
ALG, on the other hand, focusing on the jungle, taking out the Nemesis and the Najah. ALG making sure to keep Skeeledon down. Skeeledon's a streaky player, and when he's hot, he's really hot. He's able to kind of carry the game by themselves. They didn't mention him on the desk whatsoever, just kind of brought up Wowy, but this jungle position for Noble is extremely important. ALG want to make sure he doesn't get off to a good start, but Noble still selects Serqet.
I'm surprised that they picked Serqet, knowing that Skeeledon likes the Susanoo. We've seen him play Chang'e every now and then. He has such a wide variety of a god pool. On the flip side, though, for Allegiance, it's weak in there as well. So I'm expecting this is a strategy that Noble developed, trying to take Serqet off of Weaken's hands.
Yeah, Weaken played a really strong Serqet the other day. His team unfortunately wound up losing, but he built this sort of tank Serqet with a mystical male in tow and was really able to control the situation from the jungle. So I liked that look from him. Noble taking their notes and stripping the assassin away from the team leader. Osiris could also wind up in the hands of Weaken. We've seen him play around with those tanky junglers, so a little bit of ambiguity on the side of ALG there, who now focus on the warriors, betting out Arlong, Shannon, Hercules, while Noble stick to tanks, taking care of Athena and Gep.
Like you were talking about before, the thing that Weaken does really well is his ability to flex between the same god pool of CycloneSpin.
Right.
This Osiris, this Chulainn, ALG, they know where they're going, but Noble and the rest of us don't really know. And knowing ALG's playstyle, I'm expecting a lot of early pressure around the solo lane jungle side.
Well, Wowy got his Jing Wei. This is one of the more impressive characters I've seen Wowy on, so we should see how this long lane that we're focusing so hard on the desk really breaks down. Terra is the selection for the support on ALG. So again, Jingwei versus Skadi. This is the matchup I'm really staring at. Wowy versus Metyankey. Metyankey has proven himself in a number of arenas. Can he win this game for ALG by himself is a big question.
Well, you can look at the Hunter versus Hunter matchup all you want, but you have to take into consideration the global Terra presence. That Terra's blessing can easily turn the tide here for Metyankey, especially playing the Skadi. The amount of control that he gets with that permafrost is going to make things really difficult for Wowy if he decides to step up a little bit.
So as we get into game here, again, this is sort of the battle of the bottom. Noble and Allegiance trying to not find themselves banned out here. Wowy just rocking out, getting ready for the game. Gotta amp himself up. And then Skeeledon here. This guy has been marked as potential for up to what feels like 2 years at this point.
Look at what ALG is doing, grouping up this early around the soul lane. I expected early pressure, but I didn't expect it this early before the minions or the jungle camps even spawned.
Yeah, Skeeledon, like I said, a lot of people high on this player for a long time, but it feels like it hasn't come to fruition as much as it should have. What do you think holds Skeeledon back?
I don't think it's necessarily anything holding him back. I just don't think he had the right opportunity or the right place. And what Allegiance is doing here is that they're trying to just allow the pressure to naturally develop on the right side. They didn't even group up to ward, because a lot of teams will do that. They'll group up in the beginning, they'll drop a ward, then they'll all fall back. But no, that's not ALG's play style. They're going to be able to apply so much pressure onto Noble that they're going to be able to start stripping away the speed and the blue buffs.
So moswal here, with everybody stripping away all the buffs, it's up to him to kind of bring that pressure in the mid lane. On the Thoth, not exactly going to happen level 1, especially versus the Soul. But as the game gets later and later, moswal on this Thoth has proven to be really strong.
Yeah, especially considering that he's going to be grouped up with Fafnir just to help peel him in the early game. They're not going to get the lane pressure that they want in the mid lane, considering it's a Hunter and the mid mage grouped up there. That's allowing ALG to start collapsing underneath. Wubbn can only be that spectator.
Yeah, wow, we're going to go back to lane and meet up with Terra. Meanwhile, the invade coming out from ALG proves successful. 4 players strong. They take away the speed buff away from Noble. No big deal for them.
Something that I would love to see from Noble is, like, when you know you're not going to have mid pressure and you're going to concede your speed buff to a 4-man group up. Oh, CycloneSpin, that was so low. Instantly Skeeledon with the first blood. 2 players grouped up and finds them with the zigzag. Deathbane coming through in the clutch, and this is all Skeeledon needs. I mentioned he's a streaky player, but when he's hot, he's really hot. Totally, that first blood could be the catalyst to just send Noble into the stratosphere. That's huge. Both Weekend and CycloneSpin are one of the best 2v2 fighters in the early game between levels 1 and 3, but not really respecting the potential between both Bellona and the Serqet, and that kind of damage before CycloneSpin turned into that Rage 4 mechanic, he wasn't able to really survive or get off the shield.
Yeah, this is a fire giant side of the jungle that I really like. Wow, getting knocked up, stunned out.
Oh, NeiruMah.
Just classic.
Just NeiruMah being NeiruMah, honestly.
Yeah.
That's something that he loves to do. He knows what he can and can't get away with. Because we saw Metyankey solo farming the dual lane, this allows the timing for NeiruMah just to delay Wowy from even delaying the purple. Whether or not he stole it, you're applying damage onto the Jingwei before the Devil Gloves come online, maybe force a premature health potion, and that could even allow Metyankey further down the line to get a solo kill.
NeiruMah has been a great application to his team on Allegiance, but heading back to the Fire Giant side for Noble, Skeeledon and Whalrus have just been 2 of the guys that I feel like just limitless potential, but they've never really been able to find it and make it work. And you mentioned that you don't think there's anything that's been keeping Skeeledon down per se, but Skeeledon and Whalrus, like, at some point, it's just got to happen, because there's so much, like I said, potential, and there's so many conversations about these 2 players, and I'm one of them having those conversations. I'm not saying we shouldn't, but we just don't see the performance all the time. I'm hoping totally that it's not too little too late. I think Noble still has some gas in the tank, and if they take care of Weekend right here, which they will, Skeeledon with another kill, this could be the look that Noble's looking for.
What was Weekend doing outside of his tower? A CycloneSpin sitting under his own tower. A lot of miscommunication between these 2. We were talking about it during picks and bans, how Cyclone and Weekend would play off of each other, but not like that. Not in a situation where both of them would find themselves with 1 death apiece before the 3.5-minute mark.
And that's another pairing up here, the jungle solo pairing. Weekend and CycloneSpin been playing together for a long time. These guys are great friends. But again, a team that hasn't reached the success that they probably should have, or the success that they've had in the past.
You were talking about people just running out of gas in the tank, and maybe that's the situation for Weekend and CycloneSpin. Maybe the other new bloods kind of caught up to them here, because their time during AFK was just reigning supreme. They won the spring split, I believe, in season 1, season 2, something like that. 2. And they were just on fire. A lot of teams looked up to them and how they played and tried to adapt to the meta that they created. But this time around, the meta that Weekend and CycloneSpin made is no longer existent, and they just haven't been able to adapt.
But at the same time, I mean, why not? Weekend can play the tanky picks of the jungle, as we see him picking up that Osiris, and CycloneSpin can 100% pick up the Camazotz. Allegiance right now got to defend their red buff. Skeeledon over the top looking for NeiruMah. Grabs him in the knockup, and the ultimate is strong. But Metyankey comes through taking care of the jungler, while Wubbn takes out NeiruMah. 1-for-1 so far. Wubbn in trouble. Wubbn going to fall down. Oceans puts number 2 on the board for ALG. Well, they're not able to successfully defend their red buff, but they certainly punish the opposition. 2-for-1. ALG find their 2 kills in the game.
The counter engage sometimes superior to the primary engage, and good counter rotation from ALG. Weekend showing himself right around that corner. Even though they got that early kill onto NeiruMah, both Skeeledon and Wubbn falling, red buff still going ALG's way, not worth for Noble at all.
So again, our conversation before, you know, the meta's not there any longer. Well, tanky junglers are there.
Sure.
Weekend does the tanky jungler setup man thing, and CycloneSpin can totally play a couple of assassins in the solo lane. Not all of them are viable. I'm not saying he's coming out with Thanatos anytime soon, but I mean, Camazotz has proven to be successful in this current meta. So why don't we see that CycloneSpin on the hard carry Weekend setup man combination that made them so successful so many seasons ago?
It could have been that one play, honestly, that Omega did way back in the day when there was an Odin versus Hercules matchup, and that could have been the career-changing, like, you know,
you
how,
really think so?
You know how wrestlers get injured?
Yeah.
That was maybe CycloneSpin getting straight up injured, getting first blooded around level 2 to Omega when he got pull pushed under the tower, and then after that point, I think he started just to second guess himself almost every time of the way. And this game, unfortunately, he didn't second guess himself. He took such an aggressive pathing and positioning that he wanted to fight 2-on-2, and it wasn't in his favor. Giving up first blood to Whalrus is allowing him to do what he's doing now by freezing this lane, getting a huge advantage, already 1 level above Cyclone.
And this strategy is just going to increase that, letting the minions kill each other, and he's just not able to really grab it.
The experience per minute here, 130 difference between CycloneSpin and Whalrus. A great opportunity for Whalrus to freeze this lane and utilize his levels and just be that constant bully. Already hitting level 9 before CycloneSpin hits level 8. He's able to just run havoc on this lane.
And he's also providing a ton of poke.
1 bludgeon.
Bludgeon bringing him down to half HP. Wubbn being brought down about a quarter, or losing about a quarter.
Skeeledon's
the dive! The dive, Skeeledon from the backside. Walrus not willing to go ahead and help his teammate out just yet. Ooh, Skeely.
That's aggressive. That's aggressive. That's all of the cooldowns necessary. That CycloneSpin needed. He used the ambush to get over the blue buff, and then his zigzag to clear the melee, meaning no escapes available for him. His best bet was to push CycloneSpin away from him and then run away, but then he went the tower aggro.
ALG looking to capitalize with the dead jungler, looking to invade and get some bonus sprinkles. Oceans takes down Whalrus. Wubbn could be next. He'll just be chased out. But the speed buff, it's on the ground, so it looks like it did go Noble's way. But Allegiance are able to go ahead and get a kill, and now they'll look for the Gremlins over there as well. And that's what you need to do if you're a team that's behind is a harsh word, but the enemy got the first blood, and you're kind of not momentum's favor. As soon as you find that pick, you got to take advantage.
Just because somebody died early game in a first blood situation, especially if it's solo lane, doesn't give you a free pass to constantly dive them or camp that lane.
Exactly.
That is an example of good mechanics being used to bait yourself. CycloneSpin is known for being aggressive, but his mechanics can never be questioned. His decision-making can usually never be questioned. And right there, on the defensive end of things, he certainly got the benefit.
You know, I like that play still. I like Whalrus and Skeeledon going again for the solo laner. It was just a very curious... The execution was just... I don't know what you're doing.
It needed to be together.
With the wave and together.
Skeeledon needed to wait for a Whalrus to engage, get the tower aggro potentially, and then try to look for the kill. The Serqet poisons off of the ultimate would have been enough with Walrus's damage. The level 9 bludgeon, we saw what it was able to do. It did 33% of CycloneSpin's health.
Now CycloneSpin is half a level lead up, and him and Weekend are going to be able to
Missed the
bully
root.
Whalrus.
It missed the root. If Cyclone hit that root, he probably would at least force the ultimate out of Whalrus with all the damage follow-up.
Even still, you know, just one little kill is able to just swing the momentum on the right side of the map. And you can see how fiercely Noble have to respond. They can't just send the jungler. It's just been 3 other people here in order to help out Whalrus. The invade on the blue buff is successful, but that's we are balanced here on a tightrope. Both these teams are just swinging back and forth.
The stipulations are just too high on the line for both of them, but they came out swinging, honestly, in this first game, considering that whoever loses this one, if it's ALG, they're more likely to get relegated than Noble. Noble still has a chance to make it out of relegations, even if they split here, but it's not going to be too pretty here. They need to get control of the game here. They're still up a little bit of gold before any towers are gold fury.
That's kind of what I expect, though, honestly, Tolly, is I expect these teams to come through and come out swinging. I mean, when you look at Weekend, he's not. Everybody, you know, knows that he's more of a setup man, a defensive jungler, but he's still aggressive in the sense that he wants to make these plays early and often. You know, look at him on the left side of the map here, getting ready to harass Wowy.
He's there to share the experience more than anything else, honestly. Wowy has too much mobility, too much slipperiness to get out of danger between his ultimate, between the Persistent Gust agility combination. Weekend just now hitting level 9, needed to catch up to Skeeledon with all the pressure on the right side of the map. Now it's ALG on the left.
Ooh, starting up the Gold Fury nice and early, 60% or so. And Wubbn's going to just show up and chase ALG away. So a quick response time coming out from Noble as they get aggressive and look at Allegiance as they filter into the mid lane. No ultimates used. Weekend's chased out. Nice play.
Weekend went up and down on his ultimate, thinking that he needed to use it to peel for Ocean. Skeeledon with so much patience, didn't use his beads, didn't use his ultimate, relying on the Ankile for the disruption once he dove that backline.
Yeah, again, another nice pickup of this item. It's been recently changed, and basically the stats have been adjusted to make it more aggressive. This is now the Dive the Mage item. You get some magical protection, some physical power, and also the silence hasn't been changed. When somebody casts on you, they're silenced for a second or so right after the fact. So when you dive that mage and they react accordingly, well, then they're silenced and you can just beat them up even more.
But not only that, it's an AoE silence.
Exactly.
So there was, what was it? Was Weekend right beside him alongside NeiruMah. So that was 3-man silence off of that one item. I think it has a 30-second internal cooldown. So Skeeledon can keep looking for these plays if he can bait out some of these ultimates or relics.
Yeah, it's
the beats were
deal.
used for motions.
The beads, do you think he beats out the silence?
I think so. I think he was a little worried that he needed his Disapparate to get off just to escape.
Well, NeiruMah going to get stuck up by a little bit of a stun coming out from moswal, who, again, I mentioned him earlier briefly. What a great addition to this Noble roster. I mean, Noble have always had sort of the skeleton crew of almosts. This team has been almost there for so long, and I think, you know, something you were talking about earlier with respects to the guys in Allegiance, the other North American teams have gotten so strong so quickly, and Noble have just always been almost there, it seems like. In a world where we have 5 more weeks of competition, Tolly, do you think that this Noble team could get some wheels underneath them and start moving someplace?
I can never count out any individual group of 5 players after I saw what Rival were able to do between Season 3 and Season 4. I think that Noble definitely have the potential. They need to be able to find that nice mix of balance between aggressive and patience-ness, and then I could see them being more just on the upper echelon of the North American teams.
Yeah, I really like the core that they have. Like I said, Whalrus, Moswal, Skeeledon, the core on the right side of the map is a powerful squad. Skeeledon, I feel like I've said it too much already. A little bit more streaky than I would like, but you know, when he's performing alongside Whalrus and Moswal, this team looks very, very strong, and it's almost if you catch yourself watching some of their highlight reels, you find yourself asking, why are they so low in the standings?
I mean, honestly, I respect Skeeledon a lot. I wanted to make a team with him in Season 3 before hi-rez Studios threw a Pokeball at me and caught me in there. But he is a player that's just been so strong since Season 3 even began. He was on the grind, and this is just showing and paying off. his performance even today, let alone the earlier portion of the split.
But again, you know, it's all potential. It's all talk about potential. You know, one of the analysts that was highest on Skeeledon was Adonis. And you know, he's moved on from Smite. That's how long we've been talking about the potential of Skeeledon. We know it's there. The players know it's there. We know it's there. We've seen it, but I wish we were able to see it consistently on the SPL stage. I think that would drastically change how strong Noble is, because here he comes making plays like this over the wall, and all of a sudden NeiruMah just deleted Wubbn with the last hit. Huge assist from the entirety of the team, started up by Skeeledon.
Oh, man, if Wowy committed to that ultimate, that one shot from moswal would have certainly found the kill, but that's still technically half a kill, and with the death of NeiruMah, that's going to allow Noble to start up the gold here already less than half health.
Skadi's here alongside Oceans. Gold Fury still going to be grouped on and killed. That one goes to Noble. Nice defense coming out from them. I love the hard commit. It seems that 90% of the time teams will peel and try to take that fight, but then the enemy team runs away, you waste time running away, you get to the Gold Fury and everybody's respawned again. Noble's decision to hard commit there and confirm that, I think that's absolutely the right play.
And the whole idea there is to force out the Terra's Blessing early in a situation where he wouldn't get the heal off. If you're forcing that ultimate defensively, now you don't have to worry about getting engaged on in the side lanes later on. CycloneSpin wasn't there, Metyankey wasn't there, but a lot of Noble members were.
Portal Demon started by Allegiance as NeiruMah makes the wraparound looking for the flank, bringing Wubbn way down low. CycloneSpin on the chase. 3-man knockup coming out from the solo lane from ALG. Portal Demon still intact, 25%. Skeeledon with a flank of his own. Looking around the backside. Zigzag is strong. Portal Demon goes the way of Allegiance. Skeeledon just barely gets on out of there. So ALG pick up their consolation prize. They still find themselves down about 2,000 gold.
moswal was very healthy there, and he backed because he had no mana. Had he had even like maybe 100 more mana for one ability, he certainly would have stayed there and made that contest possible. But ALG at least respond with a goal after the goal fear from Noble, keeping the game still relatively close as we approach the 16-minute mark. And I like this back and forth action. Noble forcing it onto NeiruMah. He holds onto his ultimate knowing that he was going to die, uses it after the goal fear is already taken, and then ALG get an objective of their own.
Exactly. These are the moves that you have to make if you want to stay competitive. Is that you've got to be able to go ahead and find the something. No, we'll take the Gold Fury. You're not getting Fire Giant anytime soon, right? But you've got to at least give it a shot. Find something on the map, whether that means something as small as mid-harpies or Portal Demon has become that sort of consolation prize, like I said. When you got the gold, I guess we'll go for the Portal Demon.
Yeah, both of these teams just figuring things out because Noble abusing NeiruMah before he becomes fully tanky. The 2 deaths already. That second death that he got was even before Hi-rez was completed. Reinforced Greaves and tier 2 of that item wasn't really enough to keep him alive. But as the game progresses, I'm sure Noble are going to start switching things up because it's almost going to be foolish to keep going on this support player.
The 4-man group up. Almost caught Skeeledon walking way out of line there. 17 minutes on the clock. NeiruMah sneaking around the corner. And the invade will not be successful. Wowy picks up his red buff. 4-4 read the kills. Noble up about 2,500 gold here. Very important game for both of these teams, Anatoly.
Absolutely. The one thing to look at is the experience different as Skeeledon jumps in there, thinking about potentially going on to Oceans, but that Book of the Dead is going to help Soul stay alive a little bit longer. That extra 200 health, the extra lifesteal, as well as just that shield that you get. All that burst damage from Skeeledon needs to be probably switched somewhere else.
Skeeledon also going for this Mystical Mail on the Serqet. The additional physical protections coming out from it. It's interesting, though, Anatoly. This is a very expensive item, Mystical Mail. And usually when we see the tanky junglers, we see the options for CDR. Why the straight Mystical Mail? This is 2 different players on Serqet that have built this item.
Well, it's also the difference considering that you're getting magical damage out of that Mystical Mail. So if there's any sort of physical defense trying to negate some of the zigzag damage or the in-hand damage from Skeeledon Serqet, you're also going to have that Mystical Mail to be able to augment more of your burst potential off of the passive, let alone, like, granted, you don't need to worry about physical defense as Serqet because of the ultimate.
Right.
It's just true damage straight up, but at the same time, you have other abilities that rely on your physical damage, so you're trying to find that balance.
At the same time, I mean, sure, yeah, I guess that's the key. One of the nice things about Serqet, which enables her to be able to build defensively like this in the jungle, is the fact that a lot of her items, a lot of her abilities don't depend on that power. You already brought up the true damage from the ultimate. 1,000 power or 12 power isn't going to change how much your ultimate does. Same thing with the passive. You're either going to do percent damage from the enemy's health pool, or you're not going to do damage at all. There's no boosting that with power. So, but being able to go ahead and take care of that is a nice ability. It lends itself to being able to build defensively.
Ocean's in a little bit of trouble. Terra's Blessing going to come out to save their mid laner. Wubbn gets jumped on by Weaken, but the disengage
Skeely
from
gets
ALG.
chunked. Skeely got chunked really hard. I think there was a shot out of Ocean's. Metyankey's dog on him the entire time.
The physical defense is also very important for Skeeledon to survive the damage from Metyankey.
Big
The final
shot.
judgment.
Big shot. Can't finish it up. Wubbn got red in his eyes, went all the way deep, couldn't find it. Skeeledon trying to be sneaky.
No.
Won't be able to find it either. Shows up
Wow.
and zigzags away. Not the right call there.
The confidence. I'm surprised he didn't get punished for that. There were no cooldowns from ALG to exploit Serqet going in there.
I think he just surprised them. Why are you here? And then he's like, I'm not. And just turns around and runs away. I think it's 100% what happened to Skeely there. Just thought that the target was a little bit more lonely.
That's just like one of those comical reliefs, honestly, that you see. Like, we could probably make a comic off that one situation alone. Goldfury respawning. Both of these teams very close, neck and neck here. 2 to 3 points as Noble has that 3 points. ALG with 2. A lot of stipulations, relegations need to be avoided for both of them.
Exactly. Noble need to win one game in order to find themselves pretty comfortable. Allegiance, however, not going to be comfortable, even if they win both here, totally.
Yeah.
If Noble win 2, they still have to depend on the match later on between Cryptic and just sort of cross their fingers. Whereas, like I said, Noble, they just got to win.
It's true. If Noble get that 6 points, they don't really have to worry about it, because even if Cryptic 2-0 is vigilant, both of those two teams would be at 5 points. So that would allow Noble to just barely avoid relegations. Allegiance, however, must win 2 here.
Hey, man, the league... Me too. I don't care how much you avoid relegate. I don't care how big the point spread is between 2 spots. You're in or you're out, boss. That's how it works for me. You 6 or you 7. That's it. And you can make it there by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning.
Skeeledon jumping in, going to catch
Michael
Weaken, a
Scott.
little bit of damage, but not committing with the ultimate, just getting off the poke here, trying to dissuade Weaken from doing the same play.
Wubbn over here on the Fafnir. Wubbn has been a powerful Geb player and a moderate other character player. I feel like his support play hasn't stood up on other gods. Fafnir today, though, coming out strong. I think it's the combination of the rest of the squad playing as aggressive as Wubbn is.
It's just the combination of the Coerce with the Shogun's Kusari, augmenting Wowy on the Jing way, augmenting also moswal, hitting some of his enhance through that veil mirror wall there, just getting off more damage is so crucial for Goldfury, for Portal Demon, and Fire Giant.
Oh, yeah. Goldfury one more time. It's just going to be about the Oracles, however. Allegiance. Metyankey, I like Metyankey over there. He's looking. Okay, y'all doing Oracles. You're allowed. If you do Goldfury,
I'm coming
me
in
and
hot.
my friends are coming.
We coming in hot, yeah, but also respecting the true distance that Skeeledon can cover between his 2 escapes and the blink. Still on cooldown for 25 seconds, so he's probably not going to try to commit too hard in the mid lane, unless Wowy can hit the nice stun.
He misses it, jumps away.
I think
No
he's
big
just,
deal.
I think he's just trying to get those 30 gold off of the Traveler shoes, as both of these teams really switching it up here. They were very fast to start things up. I think it was like 3-2, not even 10 minutes in the game, and then 10 minutes later, 4-4 to final things out here. Skeeledon's going to get slowed for a little bit, as well as Wubbn. ALG trying to get some positioning around this gold.
Ooh, Wubbn misses the stun by a long shot. Wowy brings the Goldfury down to about 25% HP. Noble trying to defend, and Allegiance filter in from the middle lane. 4 players strong here. NeiruMah look for a stun, can't find it. Wubbn transformation, NeiruMah out right side. Weaken's still there, but everybody looking at Metyankey. Whalrus leading the charge. Dog gonna fall down. Weekend collapsing on the solo laner. Still, Gold Fury being tanked by Noble, finally leashed out thanks to a little bit of help from Metyankey.
That permafrost is exactly what's deterring it away. Being leashed back up, it's very low.
Backside
The final
CycloneSpin. They're gonna go ahead and take it away. Solo lane rotation steals that. Allegiance own the Gold Fury, and now Noble have to be on the run.
Whalrus can't run away. He doesn't have the Eagles rally. 2 dead from Noble. Not done yet, though. Metyankey going to receive some return fire from moswal. And we were talking about just some of the early shenanigans from ALG, but all it takes is one Gold Fury steal, and they're back in it.
CycloneSpin with beautiful positioning there, coming around the backside, making sure nobody really knew what was going on. Ton of disruption, and then just slam, finishing off the objective with the last hit. That basically ties the game up. Sub 1,000 Totally, I consider that a tie game. You add a cherry on top by way of the Portal Demon. 487, what lead? Tie game at 24 minutes. Beautiful play by Allegiance, bringing them right back into it.
Unfortunately for Noble, they kept trying to do the same strategy that they employed in the early portion of the game by going on NeiruMah so hard. Forcing the Serqet ultimate onto the Terra is not ideal now. He has high diversion, Jade Emperor's Crown to limit some of the damage, and it's very difficult to find the same burst potential. Metyankey constantly throwing out the permafrost, displacing Noble out. The final judgment from moswal was mistimed and couldn't secure the Gold Fury over CycloneSpin.
Now Allegiance pick up their objective on the right side, come over to the mid lane, and tease the tower.
Just teasing it.
They're not actually going for it. It looked like they were going to group up in real heavy siege. Why do you think Allegiance second-guessed themselves?
It just seems that both of these teams, whoever engages first is usually on the worst receiving end of it, potentially. We saw what happened in the First Blood, the Gold Fury just now. Patience is the key. This game is still even despite Gold Furies, the last Gold Fury going for ALG here. They're still trying to get the game relatively in their favor. With Metyankey sitting at level 20 on the Skadi, his defense is there with his Mantle of Discord. He has the physical power with the Transcendence. They're relying on him to finish off the Titan's Bane to get the penetration before they start grouping for these towers.
And Skeeledon's got himself a Titan's Bane. So the Serqet's going to be actually able to nail the tower stronger than you might expect, and Allegiance certainly going to be able to have a little bit of fun here. Terra's Blessing popped as everybody tries to converge around the middle lane. Wubbn in trouble, but Skeeledon's in most trouble. Skeeledon brought all the way down, way too far up front. Was the jungler. Metyankey feeling good about that. 4-0-1 for the Hunter from Long Island. Allegiance still 5 players strong, looking at this mid lane tower, and only 4 in Noble jerseys ready to defend.
The oven was still going there. It wasn't time to take the food out. Unfortunately, Skeeledon was a little bit too hungry there, but now ALG with a 5-on-4 advantage. They're going to go in a CycloneSpin rallying roar on 4.
And here comes Chef Weekend on the top, looking for everybody else. He's going to put Wubbn right back into the oven, and the rest of them are looking towards the tower. Just a couple of basics will make it tumble, and down it goes. Wally and Wowy still up front. Players in Allegiance very strong and willing to take him down. Mozzie's able to answer back 1 for 1 in the middle lane. Whalrus still alive until Metyankey again puts him down. 5 kills in total for Metyankey. 1 kill, more importantly, 7 assists for Weekend in the jungle. Oceans trades his life out there for a tier 1 tower. I don't know how he's going to feel about that, but that's a win looking at the other people falling down as well. Perhaps most importantly, Whalrus.
Sure, absolutely. You look at CycloneSpin diving that backline, finding 3-man knock-up, keeping his team on the aggressive side, demolishing that tier 1 tower, finishing off 2 members very importantly, but look at the score. It's 5-9 with Allegiance only having about a 500 gold lead. Still nothing to brag about. Gold Fury respawning in 1 minute, and I don't expect neither of these teams to go for the Fire Giant quite yet until there's at least 3 dead members.
This game has proven to be a game of inches, not miles. And watching, these all-out battles over a tier 1 tower, I think we're going to see a lot of these, totally. We're 27 minutes in. I don't think we're leaving anytime soon.
I don't think so either, because look at the way it started off with ALG using that Terra's Blessing to kick things off. I thought that they were going to try to dive moswal, or at least force him so far back that they would be able to get the tower for free, but Skeeledon tried to stop it.
Wubbn slowed out a little bit. NeiruMah not able to find the crowd control that he was looking for. But now it's the dual lane tower that's under attack here. with the wave god, Metyankey able to focus, and between him and Oceans, these towers are going to fall very quickly.
That Titan's Bane now completed for Metyankey is what's allowing him to really get the damage off and melt these tier 1 towers. Even though NeiruMah didn't get the necessarily crowd control he wanted on Wubbn and keep him in place, but he delayed the back long enough that it was a 3-on-1, ALG getting another 500 gold under their belt, and now are starting to get a lot of vision on the left side of the map as this Gold Furies respond.
Yeah, it's right here and ready. Somebody's going to take it. Allegiance with the powerful positioning, I would say. Tie game at the moment. Next Gold Fury puts them up a couple of thousand gold, so definitely something that you want to look at.
Trying to find a little bit of poke here as Weekend throws out the second ability. NeiruMah could look for a slow here. He would definitely wants to go on the backline or use the walls to cut off the entry.
Skeely looking for a flank, but CycloneSpin spots him out and forces the Serqet player back a little bit. Actually, no, Skeely just hits go, grabs somebody with the ultimate, and runs back to the team. NeiruMah, half HP, Wowy off of his jump is going to be in some trouble. Ultimate down, so doesn't have that escape available. Whalrus jumps backwards defensively with the ultimate, and that's all Legions need to go right towards the gold.
Weekend is alone, though, not going to get exploited quite yet. Gold Fury already less than half health. CycloneSpin using the roar on 2. Final Judgment being channeled, going to get canceled because Weekend is zoning.
Weekend by himself is exactly what he and the team want. He's, as you said, zoning everybody out. Skeeledon looking to confirm the kill on him, but it's Oceans turning it around, protecting the jungle and taking down the Serqet. Wubbn answers back, looking for NeiruMah. It's a 1-for-1 so far.
Skeeledon still dead for 45 seconds. Gold Fury being pulled by Noble. They got the first one, lost the second, trying to go for the third. Oceans and Cyclone on the right, Metyankey on the left,
They don't
trying
see
to
Cyclone.
find the pincer.
They don't see Cyclone. They don't see Cyclone. Whalrus is taking care of general people. Here comes Cyclone. He did it once. Will he do it again? Noble are able to snatch it away despite CycloneSpin's best efforts. Fool me once, says Noble. And now they're looking to punish the Chulainn, but it's Metyankey putting Wubbn in the ground again.
We were talking about it before. Once 3 members are dead, that's when Fire Giant is going to happen. NeiruMah's still dead for ALG, but they don't need him to secure these objectives. In fact, they're going to get him here a little bit closer by getting the Portal Demon beforehand.
Portal Demon beforehand, specifically because I think CycloneSpin very low needs to head back to base, and he'll be able to show up right in time here. The rest of Allegiance also going to head back. Players are respawning totally. I'm not sure how reasonable this Fire Giant's going to be.
It's all a bait here currently. Weekend spotting around the corner, trying to see if there's anybody going to be checking around the FG. With ALG having Sentry Ward right inside the Fire Giant pit, Noble have to keep this objective in check.
Wowy and Skeeledon show up to do just that. Dash forward from NeiruMah, trying to separate the Hunter away from everything else, and gets the ultimate. Fire Giant leashed, but will be picked back up in just a moment. Accidentally by CycloneSpin. But Skeeledon is still local, so I don't think Allegiance are going to hard commit to this objective totally. They're going to settle for just a Portal Demon out of this one.
Have to respect the damage from moswal with that Final Judgment ultimate up and running. That is a huge burst secure. There's no Hand of the Gods. There's no real possible way to out-damage the Final Judgment from ALG.
And moswal's also been the guy for Noble that's perhaps having the best game. He's positive 1-0-3 slash sign over there in the mid lane. He's top player damage, and Thoth player damage, I mean, when you look at characters like Vulcan, I don't really call that fake damage, because when you're nailing that sort of poke out, I mean, he earned one of your half kills before, shoving somebody out, didn't get the final blow, but the player had to walk back to base. That winds up being a Gold Fury attempt. moswal has been one of the more successful players here. I think Skeeledon has gotten a lot of the spotlight in this game, making the flashy, aggressive plays, but moswal's been in the back playing Thoth almost perfectly.
And that's the 2 180 identity switches between Skeeledon and moswal. Moswal is very patient, very quiet, letting the plays just naturally develop until it's his time to answer the call, whereas Skeeledon is trying to force the issue a little bit too hard this game. It worked out for him in the beginning. He's starting to get punished for it now as we approach the 33rd minute mark, and both of these teams switching their focus on the right.
Got to be careful of Weekend with the flank, but Weekend's going to head up the safe way and join the rest of the squad. Allegiance now again jockeying for position around this Fire Giant. Ocean's firing out some nonsense.
Still trying to find the right possible angle. Skeeledon, he got spotted out. Weekend and Oceans right beside him as Skeeledon just retreats underneath. It's just a battle for these Sentry Wards. These teams don't want to actually commit to this Fire Giant. You could easily just get so punished for it.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
with Metyankey having this Mantle of Discord and the Genji's Guard, he needs to be very mindful about his positioning, relying on his Kaldir to kind of self-peel for himself.
I mean, worst case scenario, right? We're deadlocked even here. The team that picked up the Fire Giant basically gets the remaining towers on the board. I don't know about Phoenix's just yet, but all 3 towers are gone for Noble if Allegiance are able to pick it up, and likely a Phoenix Siege. Allegiance, they lose all their towers if it goes the other way as well. Moswal down the middle won't find anybody. Wubbn half HP now after transformation. Still going to be all right.
That was a great Aegis from Metyankey, absorbing the damage from Final Judgment. If that connects, not going to be a kill onto Metyankey, but we'll get him to that 25% health threshold where the rest of Noble could look for the dive.
CycloneSpin and Ocean still have the ultimates, which are giant teamfight ultimates. Weakens to a lesser extent, especially when there's a lack of healing on the squad, but still something to think about. There's CycloneSpin
Skeeledon
dashing on the tower, but it's Skeeledon backline, looking for Weaken and Metyankey and
Wowy.
Oceans. Wowy! That's one. Looking for 2. The Aegis gets him out of the damage spot of the mid lane, but he will fall down to Weaken's hand.
Skeeledon's trying to dash away. He will successfully save his own life. It's a Hunter for Hunter, 4-on-4. Skeeledon's going to back for the moment. ALG relying on NeiruMah, Monolith healing just to continue the siege of the tier 2, but they're against moswal's Thoth. It's just not going to happen.
You know, every time the players group up on that healing puddle, they're just going to be able to be pushed out. Moswal has the range, and he's certainly been doing his job here, pushing players out of where they want to stand and into where he wants them to stand.
Not hesitating on the action whatsoever. I love the dive. It was Whalrus, Skeeledon, and Wowy diving that backline, but the disruption that CycloneSpin provides with his multiple-man knockup from the human regular ultimate is just enough to really swing the teamfight back in ALG's favor. If Noble wait out that one ultimate, that's when they can start committing in the backline.
And that's what they need to do as the game continues further. Nice defense coming out from Noble, though, there. I mean, that could have been a lot worse, put it that way. That could have definitely been a whole lot worse.
Because of how long there was a stalemate on the right side of the map, ALG had something about like 6 or 7 wards completely surrounding Fire Giant. Then they felt confident enough to like, all right, we have so much vision here, we're just going to switch our focus on the enemy red buff. And they wanted to try to get the tier 2 tower with CycloneSpin still making that delayed rotation. Everything was going their way until that dive happened.
Well, right now, Portal Demon will be ALG's target. 35.5 on the clock. Noble going to respond a little bit, but cautiously. Portal Demon still not being committed to. Wowy hard commit to the Gold Fury, and CycloneSpin showing up, and that should be enough to chase Wowy out of there. But I think not having CycloneSpin and Wowy at the team fight will hurt both of their teams. There's the confirmation, and it's Allegiance able to get their Portal Demon, no problem. Skeeledon going to avoid the stun.
Weekend wants to go in there because Skeeledon used both of his escape, but his Eagles rallying the backline on Whalrus. Wowy's going in as well. Skeeledon, though, going to apply the poisons onto Weekend, forcing out the shell.
Wowy not playing too aggressive, and I like that call. He's fallen down twice. I don't think he really wants to find a third one. If Wowy dies here, as I mentioned, he and CycloneSpin were on the other side. Allegiance have some other options to really start these team fights, like we saw Weekend sort of go in there and stuff. Wowy is going to provide a lot of the damage. He's sitting here about halfway there on the player damage, but this is where the Hunter, I mean, he's full build now. This is where he has to jump up on those player charts as long as he's hitting his shots. And frankly, Wowy's going to hit his shots.
And definitely trying to avoid some of this return damage. Weekend going for Hide of Nemi line and the Thorns. Double lifesteal from Wowy. Going for the Aussie and the Devil Gloves is relatively uncommon, but it's going to give you more lifesteal than the damage that you're taking.
Ocean's here, starting on the Fire Giant, about half HP on the big guy, but it's leashed out. Something I want to bring up to point. Oceans has a Polynomicon now, so he's going to provide a lot of that burst damage off the front. He's going to toss out his 2, hit somebody with the basic attack, and try to hopefully let somebody else kill him. But again, Skeeledon lurking in the
persistent
backline.
gust, knocking up Weekend, allows so much damage. Now he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Serqet poisons, Final Judgment, taking out Weekend.
Right down Broadway. Weekend's going to fall down. NeiruMah on the retreat here. And it's going to be CycloneSpin controlling 3 separate players. NeiruMah grouping up back with the team around the Portal Demon's previous spot, healing up thanks to the Monolith. And still, CycloneSpin by himself over there in the mid lane. This one Noble win the fight by way of numbers. They kill Weekend, but Allegiance are on their back foot here.
It was a slow and steady poke from Noble. That persistent gust setting up so much damage from moswal with their first ability. Then eventually, once Skeeledon hard committed, he threw Weekend into moswal with a sonic boom from moswal to follow up. That was an easy pick, but they're not taking advantage of this 20-second respawn timer.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm asking. I misspoke and I said Allegiance. Noble win the team fight, but then it looked like they're the ones that have to back off.
They were a little not on the healthy side. They're
Neither
still
was
trying to be
Allegiance.
patient about it. They're going to start up the Fire Giant now with Wubbn. Well, Whalrus going in. Eagles rally on top of two. Skeeledon going to go in the backline as well onto Metyankey.
Big play getting the 3-man stun there. Tully, Metyankey to be chased on out. Skeeledon gets the kill and he's gone. Safe and sound as the jungler gets in, does the dirty work. Peace out. Skeeledon on retreat. Wubbn might fall here, but that's all right. His team did what his team needed to do. Take out Metyankey for 50 seconds. moswal looking to turn around, get stunned out here by NeiruMah, but the dash will be fine. Again, Noble successfully fight, get a kill, but it looks like they're the ones in trouble.
Whalrus and Wubbn, the two W's were very low in the yellow. They need to back, heal up, but they got the key member there. Weekend dying is not the end-all, be-all for Noble to force a Fire Giant, but Metyankey dying, the damage that he's providing and the control between Permafrost and the Kaldir ultimate is enough to maybe even go on this Fire Giant here.
Well, we're not seeing it just yet. Skeeledon in the mid lane, the rest of the team grouped up as Bellona starts inching towards the Fire Giant.
Oceans went towards the left. I think Skeeledon spots that out. I think he might be calling it. Fire Giant not going to get started quite yet. Now it will be. Ultimate from Wubbn wanting to get that AoE coerce off. Eagles rally even.
Yeah, this is a full commit coming out from Noble. Love this choice. All in on the Fire Giant. They are not going to leash this one. Confirmed by moswal. And the fight, it's all about CycloneSpin because he showed up. But Noble want to back off here, head to base, regroup, and push. Love this aggressive play from Noble. We sat here and watched them win the team fights. We're like, when are they going to make their move? They chose very carefully. I like it.
Metyankey was dead. Oceans was spotted going to his own red buff by Skeeledon. That's why he jumped over towards those right side mid harpies. The AoE coerce from Wubbn, the final judgment. So the AoE coerce from Wubbn sets up the play. Eagles rally also, the aura between the physical damage and the protections sets up the play. moswal ends it with his ultimate.
And that's textbook right there. Getting the coerce to be able to burn it down and the mage to finish it off. That's how you do objectives, folks. And
That's why Fafnir was first picked for Noble. They prioritize Wubbn's pick very often, honestly, in the SPL. Look at Season 3, honestly. They always wanted to first pick Athena for him. He switched away from the Athena, you know, playing the Fafnir. Now at 4 so far, good looks. You know, they're up about 5,000 gold, which is not too much now considering it's almost a 41-minute mark. This is the difference between 86,000 or 81,000. Everyone is basically full build with the exception of Oceans.
But it's still, you know, this is the gold. I always look at gold, even when we're past the point when everybody's 6 slotted. I always look at gold because it shows you how well the team has been performing. You know, if you're down 20,000 gold, but everybody has 6 slotted items, it still tells you that you ain't been winning, buddy. It's been an issue for you. Now watching it neck and neck, 6,000 gold and a Fire Giant for Noble. This is the largest lead of the game, and they need to make something happen off of it. Skeeledon looking for the flank, not going to find it.
4 members trying to defend the tower as Weekend is going to prevent Skeeledon from flanking, but the tier 2 was successfully demolished from Noble. Now switching their focus on the middle lane. The stipulations here, the relegations, is very important here.
I love that play from Allegiance right there. They defend their tier 2 tower to a point. They're defending the team fight more than the tower. A lot of times we see teams, especially with the Fire Giant, they aggress on the tower, they just catch one guy out of position and they're able to snowball it into a team fight and then a Phoenix. Weekend sitting there protecting, making sure Skeeledon doesn't get the flank. Not because he wants to engage on himself, but just make sure, don't fight us. You want the tower, you can have the tower, but just don't fight us.
Skeeledon and Weekend have a very similar mindset when it comes to playing Smite, so that's Weekend saying like, hey, what would I do in Skeeledon's shoes? Like, oh, I would be looking for a flank assist Serqet. All right, well, I'll cover that option, allow my team to at least make sure that there's nothing additional beyond that tier 2 tower.
To give credit to Allegiance as well, I mean, they're also just reading Skeeledon. Skeeledon has looked for that flank literally every single time.
That's his job. He's the Serqet. He needs to dive the backline. He has to dab every single time on him, and for good looks in the early game, not able to really do so in the mid to late.
You really said that, didn't you?
I mean, you got to dive all backlines. Dab on him.
Fano K is going to ask you for royalties on Twitter now. Just putting that one out there. 9-13 are the kills. 43 minutes on the clock here. Noble with the largest lead of the contest. 11,000 gold here. And as me and Toli have mentioned a number of times, and they even alluded to on the desk, very important matches. Noble trying, both of these teams trying to avoid relegation. Don't forget, folks, next season, we're cutting the teams down to 6. So it's perhaps the most important relegation moments of these teams' individual lives. Noble have to win out in order to secure themselves.
ALG have to win out to make sure they avoid relegations.
Well, even if they win out, they are still in trouble.
They're still in trouble, but they put themselves in a better spot. If ALG lose this first game, that puts Noble at 4, ALG with 2, Cryptic still at 2, and Vigilance at 5. So actually, if ALG lose
right now, you're talking about points.
Yes, points-wise. So if ALG lose this first game, they're guaranteed to get relegated.
Exactly.
They need to win both and then still hope for a miracle.
Yeah, this is the definition of a must-win for ALG. Noble, on the other hand, they want to win. But if Noble are able to take away, I believe, just 1, they're going to be able to push forward, but 2 would be certainly ideal, making them a little bit safer on our point system. Again, I'm Tom, this is Toli, and we're mid-game of Noble versus ALG, the last day of the SPL here at hi-rez Studios.
I mean, yesterday European action was pretty epic, honestly. We had a 50-minute Kuzenbo jungle game between Obey and Dignitas. You know, Poppies versus Burrito going the distance, splitting in the first best or 2-game set, going to 3, Poppies getting that 7th seed for the gauntlet, and then now transitioning here to North America. This is game number 1 of the day.
Exactly. And this is how, and what's fun about it is, and I want to give a lot of credit to these teams. Tully, you've been a player yourself. When it comes to playing Smite on the biggest stage for the biggest stuff, a lot of times you can be goaded into playing passively. And we have not seen that. We have not seen that at all. Allegiance have been swinging since minute 1. Noble as well.
This is also the difference between playing from the comfort of your own home versus playing in front of a crowd, honestly. So this is more of like textbook practice. You know, you're scrimming day in, day out. You're playing ranked. This is still just another day for these two teams.
Well, FG started half HP. NeiruMah here, but not much he can do on the Terra. CycloneSpin, on the other hand, big difference. Whalrus half, and that's going to be Cyclone's target for now. The Fire Giant going to be leashed as everybody from Allegiance looking for the aggressive play. There's a jump from Whalrus. Weekend's in trouble. Moswal down Broadway, won't find a target.
He hits Ocean to the back, doing a lot of damage. Wowie's forced to escape underneath. Whalrus is forced to exit stage left. The rest of ALG relatively healthy. Whalrus in the red is forced to disengage, but Weekend Oceans needs to back on out here. Fire Giant still up. All Phoenixes are intact. It seems that Noble, though, they're feeling confident because of their control of around these objectives with Wubbn playing Fafnir.
Metyankey and Oceans, full HP. Ready to wrestle. There's no way that Allegiance can go ahead, or excuse me, there's no way that Noble can go ahead and feel safe about this Fire Giant.
It's so low, though. It's already less than half health. Stunned out is Wubbn. Moswal thinking about disengaging and re-engaging, but now it's all 5 members from ALG. Look how poked out Metyankey was from one ability from Moswal.
Yeah, Metyankey, he just can't get hit there. He just can't get hit
Eagles
there.
Rally.
Beautiful stun coming off of Whalrus. Skeeledon with the blink. Has to zigzag defensively.
Weekend.
Nice shot on the Weekend, plus the hit from the mid lane mage. Over the top comes the assassin. Weekend in trouble. Tick, 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 but he's still alive.
in trouble.
Oceans puts Skeeledon in the ground. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Tempest Fugit, but Weekend is still alive. And it's a 1 for none. Allegiance on the aggressive
Stun
now.
onto Wubbn. Now CycloneSpin going to jump on in, forcing the Fafnir support back on now. 5-on-4 advantage for a full minute. Should go the way of ALG here. They're going to use that Monolith sustain just to allow more timing for Weekend to get back in here. Once that jungler's there, he's going to be able to go in.
You can't get hit by that.
But you have to heal, so it's like kind of like this weird juking game where it's like you're trying not to get hit, but you're still like around healing up.
But at the same time, you're taking 1 step forward, 3 steps back by healing a little bit and getting hit by it. Go heal behind a wall or don't heal at all.
That's
because
true.
the healing you're taking is a net negative after getting hit by that nonsense from moswal. And moswal has shown it to you. You test that once or twice. At this point in the game, Tolly, moswal's telling you, I'm going to hit you every time. You don't test that guy.
Well, now that's exactly what ALG did. They put that monolith behind. Everyone is healthy. They're going to start up the Fire Giant here. 4 members from Noble. Skeeledon is going to respawn in 7 seconds. They could still look to seal this because moswal has his ultimate.
And he's nailing Weekend, already half HP. Whalrus as well, but these ultimates out of the solo lane on Noble have been fantastic. Not that one. That's defensive. NeiruMah very low, chased out of the conversation. And Noble looking to turn around. There's the dash forward from moswal. Metyankey gets chunked for half of his life bar. Whalrus going forward.
Wowy's going in. He
Here's
wants to
Wowy.
find it. NeiruMah's going to disengage as well as Wowy. The Fire Giant is more important for Noble. The discipline from Wowy. Going for this portal demon, allowing Skeeledon to revive. ALG are going to have to concede this Fire Giant.
Yeah, there's no way ALG can come back in time whatsoever. Noble are just going to go right for it. The way, and this, again, this is sort of what I was asking you, Tolly, about if Noble had more time to play together as a unit. What we just saw, that was what I like to call the handoff of the team fight. Break it down, because that was so much fun to watch.
It was the one stun from moswal. The disengage from ALG thinking like, okay, we push Noble so far under their tier 2 tower. We have all the time in the world to get this Fire Giant. But hey, guess what? moswal dashing through his own wall, separating himself even further towards ALG, and then putting up another wall to increase the range of his stun, clips out Metyankey on the backhand side. And because of how low he was, the rest of the ALG was forced to retreat because their hunter wasn't there.
And I just love watching Noble actually do that play, right? They get chased out. Allegiance are winning this team fight, and it's moswal's not map vision, just battlefield vision, right? In basketball, we say court vision. The ability to see all of the relevant information in traffic. He sees that moment of opportunity that Metyankey is lagging behind the rest of the squad. I don't even know if the rest of Noble knew that Mozzie was going to be dashing up. Mozzie saw it and probably just screams and mumble, go for it, go for it. Dashes forward, finds the stun. He has follow-up from the tanky players, and then Wowy just comes over the top. All right, they got the engage. They brought him down low. It's my job to get the pentakill. Wowy shows up. Instead, they get an objective. Fire Giant is enabling them to push down this left side Phoenix. No problem.
Just like that, securing the Fire Giant. It was a good backline penetration by Skeeledon, getting Weekend a little bit out of position. The damage onto NeiruMah from moswal got him down to half health. And just like that, Noble secured themselves the first Phoenix of the game at the 50-minute mark. And this game is just still too close to call.
It's a lot of fun to watch here. Noble up at 15,000 gold, excuse me.
What?
Certainly showing their lead. CycloneSpin expected a little bit more of an aggressive move.
He knew that his rage was going to expire, so he might as well use it there. He thought that he was going to clip out one member that was a little bit too close to that Phoenix.
Right side is the choice here for Noble as the minions are here and available. Skeeledon
Metyankey.
catching Metyankey.
Oof.
Ouch. And backside here comes a Weekend. Not too big of a deal. Wowy's already done his job, but moswal doing one better. Taking out Metyankey from a distance. Weekend in trouble as well. Whalrus just up front. 2 Phoenixes left and right. Down.
Catching me by surprise, catching Metyankey even more by surprise.
Yeah.
Final judgment this late in the game. So much damage. Going Soul Reaver here just for good measure. His damage is through the charts here, top of the leaderboards.
He's still deathless as well. Everybody in the match, he is the only player that has yet to find himself forced back to base. And again, Thoth, sure, he's a backline artillery mage. He's a little bit safer, but even the plays we've seen him make have been those aggressive dashes. moswal's performance today has been fantastic, and a lot has to do with his positioning.
It's not all just about the melee characters that can make the plays. Your hunters and mage players still need to be opportunistic when the time calls for it, and that's something that moswal has been doing time in and time out this game. Now the question is, can he do it beyond this game as the gauntlet approaches?
I believe so. moswal, to me, has proven that he's the guy. One target is selected, 2 players get hit by the ultimate, and the rest get jumped on by Wally. Half HP, even less on the Phoenix. Down it goes. Noble pick up what they want. They get the 3 Firebirds. Where do they head here?
They're going to be a little patient as Metyankey has just respawned. That's the only reason why they made that play at the mid. It was a 5-on-4. The Skadi wasn't available. Now stripping away the buffs. No speed, no red buff for ALG is going to be a crucial factor here. They're going to have these buffs on Noble's side with the Fire Giant respawning in 1 minute.
Very important ward placement coming out from Allegiance. You can see how they have all of their sort of front courtyard, as I like to call it, just warded up here. Sentry wards, making sure that nobody's going to come through. There's no Giannis, but you still got to be careful with all of your Phoenixes down for the surprise invasion.
You got to protect your high garden for the temple to be protected as well, and ALG truly respect that out there. Just covering a lot of distance on the left. Still need to spread out a little bit of that wealth on the right, and the damage, yet again, really being relied from Noble onto moswal's shoulders. These final judgments in the late game have been so good. Not only that, even just the poke in itself, catching out NeiruMah. No, you can be as tanky as you want. You're still going to be eating a lot of damage from this Thoth.
And in a world where players are building defensive options, especially when ahead, because it just allows them to be that much tankier, I love the decision-making from moswal not to go in that direction, and I like it for multiple reasons, totally. One, Thoth guy is a character that kind of wants to one-shot players. It's one of his capabilities, and if you can ever do that, I'm down to vote for it. But also, Weekend playing more of a sustained damage character, a tanky character. There isn't an assassin. There isn't this. Metyankey and Oceans are the ones that are going to do the most damage to you anyway, and they're not going to one-shot you. So a little bit of extra help by way of an urchin, nah. Give me the power and just let's turn it on the other team.
That's exactly what Metyankey was thinking about, selling his Genji's guard, going for this Brawler's Beats. Like, he realizes, like, all right, we're not in a position where we need to rely on my sustained damage.
Yeah.
I need the burst damage. I need some of this maybe anti-healing options, some of the self-sustain options being stripped away. The left side Phoenix being looked at by Noble. ALG are on their last legs.
Left side, Noble looking to make the moves here. Whalrus leading the charge. Left Phoenix has been respawned. Wally tanking. moswal canceling the ultimate. Wubbn looking out on the right-hand side. Whalrus on the left. Here's a jump in from Legions. Not enough to take anybody out, but the ultimate on a weaken as he tries to find the back line is strong. Wowy takes to the sky. 25% HP on the Hunter. And a nice defensive set from Allegiance protects the Phoenix.
Still need to be worried about their Titan, though, where there's a fire minion wave, allowing Noble to maybe keep on pushing on the left side. Here comes a minion wave. moswal has the damage necessary. So does Wubbn, actually, being that draconic Fafnir. Skeeledon is going to get the right side Phoenix by himself.
Easy. Just distracted all over the place. Allegiance, and that's not a knock against Allegiance. They just had too much homework to actually show up to class. The right side Phoenix went down. It's nobody's bad. They were busy protecting, I don't know, the Titan, the game?
Too much in workload, not enough out for ALG to handle. They lose all their three Phoenixes yet again. Fire Giant around Noble's waist for 2 more minutes. This is the time for Noble to put ALG into relegation.
But how do they break the back? Skeeledon getting in trouble for this doggo on the left-hand side. Look at Metyankey pop the ultimate. He's not even there. That's Skadi. Whalrus, on the other hand, getting stunned out here. CycloneSpin with a nice initiation. Whalrus with the up-down. What an aggressive play. Looking for the group stun. Noble wasn't ready for it. They don't react in time. They're not able to collapse on Allegiance. Whalrus gets out of there totally. But Wally saw something and the rest of his team did not.
He just trusts his teammates there. moswal, if he uses that final judgment, that's going to be an easy clean-up kill on any stun target. Now using final judgment, still channeling it out. Middle Phoenix being looked that will get demolished here in a second for channeling it up.
Still waiting for it. Whalrus in trouble, likely to fall here. Trouble for Weekend, right in the face. moswal puts number 11 on the board, saying goodbye to Kurt Schrey. Allegiance still in trouble for players on playing defense here against the Titan. Low are the players on Noble, so I don't know if they can just all-out rush this one. Wowy forced into the ultimate. Skeeledon backing.
ALG, though, they're going to try to chase down Wubbn, stunning him out. He's going to absorb a lot of these cooldowns. Permafrost's going to lock him down, but he's going to transform, getting invulnerability frames.
Just for a moment. Weekend's dead. Wubbn's down for 80 seconds.
The Titan!
It's a 4-on-4. The Titan's dying. The Titan's in trouble.
Is he dead? Is the Titan gonna die?
The Titan's gonna die all the way to the minions. It's the minions.
No! ALG lose like this?
ALG get knocked out to relegation by way of minions. The distraction coming out from Noble Esports just wrecking the mentality, and just ALG losing to the Titan destroying minions.
They deserve it.
Not
Losing like
a good
that?
look. Not a good look. Rough stuff for ALG, to say the least, man. That was neck and neck all the way up until maybe 40+ minutes. And then all of a sudden, Nobles start to get a couple of good kills here, a lead here or there, and all of a sudden, well, they had a couple of extra players with the team.
I'm speechless. I really am. I don't know what to say now.
You are legitimately angry.
I
right
was
now.
mad. Like, whenever a team loses to fire minions like that, like, all right, congratulations, you killed Wubbn. Now you're in relegations because you killed Wubbn.